Hi, Nicholas. To answer your first question, the fear of the dissipation of national identity for the United States is not entirely unfounded. Demographics are changing, and so it really depends on what your version of the national identity is. There are many who believe that the national identity of the United States is one that is based on the foundation of immigration and inclusion, diversity, and opportunity to take your own economic destiny into your own hands, regardless of your nation of origin. There are many others who believe that the United States is a country based on the foundation of Judeo Christian teachings, and that is largely white. It is the latter group that faces, in their view, a dissipation of their identity. Now, I do not personally agree with this type of American identity. My views align much more with the first viewpoint that I described. But you can see that this fear is palpable, and one can argue has led to the election of our current presidential administration. So, how do we as a global community combat this fear? That's a question that I do not have an answer to. If you take the 2016 presidential election as a barometer for the compartmentalization of these two viewpoints, then you're talking about appeasing a group that is well organized and that can exert political power in an effective manner. In the United States, we do see instances of transnational migration or even immigrants that become bifocal and actively, as Lechner states, actively concerned and engaged in at least two places at once, living both here and there at the same time. It is these instances of binationalism or transnationalism that substantiate some fears that this identity group voices. But what do you do to appease a faction that just flat out doesn't want any more people of non-white ethnicities? It seems to me that there's only one thing that they want, and that is to prevent anyone non-white from entering the country, and there's not really a lot of leeway in that viewpoint. So the one thing that I think can be done is for the government, U.S. government, to continue to allow more free flow of people despite their ethnicity or national identity, and that over time, people who are exposed to the experience of interacting, living with, and sharing communities with immigrants can work to make that integration better over time. So in my opinion, I believe that if there is space and resources, as you stated in your question, to support immigration, and especially if the United States continues to be an arbiter of globalization, then it must be open to accepting immigrants and from every corner of the world. One thing that we've learned in this module is that the gains from eliminating migration barriers are the proverbial $100 bill on the sidewalk in economic terms. And usually eliminating all policy barriers to merchandise trade alone will get you GDP bumps of 1.8, 2.8, 4.1%, as Dr. Savak states in his lecture. So it seems to be much more beneficial for a society to welcome migrants and incorporate them into their state as smoothly as possible from a legal standpoint. And it's for the government to worry about implementing policy and law that makes for an egalitarian treatment of those migrants. Now, on the society side, the social fabric side, that will take longer for integration to truly take place, and even then, generations out, it may not fully have that integration aspect that maybe those in that identity group would like. So, as Lechner states in the reading, whether second or third generation immigrants keep up their grandparents' or parents' transnationalism remains to be seen. So that is to be determined. But overall, I think it is beneficial for us to allow that migration and allow society to adapt over time. Thank you.